Performance, quality, service. That's DMC Racing Products. Hundreds of name brand parts, competitive prices. That's DMC. DMC Racing Products, race to win.
The Greg Sawyer repair entry, going to start 26th on the grid. 27th will be the 4 of Cody Clark, Kevin Chaffee in the 73, Joey Scarborough in the 38, and the DODSON Construction car number 14 of Chad Edwards will round out your field. 30 laps, 30 cars for tonight's King of Dirt Sportsman, the 1-800-GOT-JUNK King of Dirt Sportsman Series presented by DODSON Construction, Elmo's Auto Body, and Hoosier Racing Tire. The Team Goey Albany-Saratoga pace truck going to make its way down the back straightaway as the 30-car field bears down in turn number 3. Richie Pierson with the clenched green flag in hand. Fans, it's time to get ready. A shower of 602 crate power going to work its way off of turn number 3 and 4. The 09 of Connor Cleveland going to shockwave it off the corner, and green flag is out. Up through turn number 1 and 2 for the first time, it will be the 09 of Connor Cleveland with the race lead down the back straightaway. 3 wide for spot number 5 as they work their way through turn number 3 and 4. John Miller and Chris Schaffer side by side. Schaffer will win that battle off the corner as they click off lap number 1. Cars scatter a little bit out of control, but we're going to stay clean and green for the time being as they work their way up through the corner. Connor Cleveland now to about a 12-car length advantage over the 08 of Jack Speshock. He'll come around and click off lap number 2 this time. The 08 of Speshock sitting in second, Nutting in third. Now here comes the 98 of Andrew Buff trying to work his way to the inside of the Ninja for the number 3 spot off at turn number 2. But Nutting very strong out for the time being off the corner. Chris Schaffer rides 5th, 6th is John Miller, 7th Tim Hartman Jr., battle for 7th Chris Johnson working his way on the outside. There's the 7 of Michael Sabia muscling his way past the 9 of Nick Anatriello just inside the top 10 as they look to fight for positions here in the early going in this one. The Hoosier Falls entry, the 28 of Cody Hunt drops a position to David Schilling down the back straightaway as well as cars scatter towards the back of the field. And it looks like it may not be long before we get moving the lap traffic here as the front end of the 09 can see the back end of the 81 of Luke Klob here with just 4 in the books. 5 now completed this time off of turn number 3 and 4. Cleveland will click off that lap. He's going to continue to set the pace here in this one. Speshock holding on to second. Third to 42 with Darryl Nutting. Fourth, Andrew Puff and Schaffer maintaining your top 5. Tim Hartman Jr. working to the inside of the 34C machine off of turn number 2. He'll close the gap on him. He sits 6th, and now the battle for 7th heating up once again as Chris Johnson now works his way to the outside of John Miller. He'll make the blast pass on him off of turn number 4 as he'll move into 7th outright down the front straightaway. That puts Miller back into 8th. 9th now is the 7 of Michael Sabia, and rounding out your top 10 is the 3 of Nick Lussier as the battle for 5th continues to rage on as Tim Hartman Jr. works his way to the inside of Schaffer. He'll crack the top 5 for the first time here tonight as Michael Sabia and John Miller go at it right behind them on the back half of the top 10. Meanwhile, slower traffic coming up quick for the driver of the Dean's Electric 09 of Connor Cleveland. He was your winner in this Friday Night Lights event a year ago. Also finished 3rd at the opening race out at the Action Track Throwdown at Utica, Rome. And he is currently setting a torrid pace here in this 30-lap feature event as he rides in off the inside this time. He's about to catch the back bumper of Luke Klob just as Cody Hunt goes around in turn number 2. And that's going to bring yellow out onto the speedway. So yellow flag out onto the speedway just 8 laps into this one, and you got to imagine Connor Cleveland, although still in the first third of this, did not want to see that caution flag come out, or did he with the lap traffic right there? But that big lead has been evaporated. Just 8 laps are not in attendance here tonight. Clench green flag got to go in the hand of Richie Pierson again as we have re-racked and restacked them down the back straightaway. Connor Cleveland going to look to set that torrid pace again off of turn number 3 and 4 as he will refire off the corner. Green flag out onto the speedway as we're back underway with 22 laps remaining. Cleveland going to pick up where he left off that time off at turn number 2. Here's Darryl Nutting looking for the number 2 spot as he's side by side with Speshock down the back straightaway. Speshock going to ride up to the top side to see if he can carry the momentum. Meanwhile, car goes around. That is the 7 of Michael Sabia. It looked like he got tagged off the corner. Cars scattered behind him as well, as that's going to bring Yellow back out onto the speedway. Jeremy Pitts and Chris Schaffer, as Schaffer comes to a stop off of turn number 4. And Rob Maxon of the 96 also coming down the front straightaway, as Schaffer looks like in the DODSON construction entry going to have to head pit side, as he was a runner-up in the... So we'll keep an eye on Schaffer as Adam Pierson going to pull it in. Looks like he will go behind the wall in that 15 machine here as we remain under caution. Also to be given out for the 2016 season, including the Redline Graphics Newcomer of the Year, which Chris Mackey currently the leader in. Clench green flag going to be back in the hand of Richie Pierson as they'll bring him off at turn number 3 and 4. Here comes the 09 of Connor Cleveland bearing back down the field as green flag is back out onto the speedway once again. Cars together up in between turn number 3 and 4. That is Chris Schaffer and Rob Maxon as they come together down off the corner, and that will bring a caution out here for the 3rd time in this feature event. Points following this event and have an updated one out at the Lebanon Valley Speedway in a couple of weeks. Clench green flag going to be back in the hand now of Richie Pierson as the 09 of Connor Cleveland going to bring him off at turn number 3 and 4 once again. 22 left to go as we go back to green. Up through turn number 1 and 2 they go. 3 wide for the number 4 spot off the corner. Here's Andrew Buff working to the outside lane. Going to go by Hartman on the outside. Buff now going to try to go to work on the Ninja off at turn number 3 and 4 as Cleveland clicks off lap number 9. Speshock still holding on to second. Cars together in turn number 4 as Tholin, Scarborough, and Coffey make evasive action for Pat Jones off the corner as that brings Yellow out once again. The 98 of Andrew Buff sits 4th. And rounding out your top 5, the 22 of Tim Hartman Jr. Chris Johnson sits 6th. 7th is John Miller. 8th, Nick Lussier. 9th, Nick Anatriello. And Tim Hodge rounding out your top 10 here through 8 laps in this feature event. Connor Cleveland going to bring him off the corner once again. We'll go back to green flag racing here in this one. Still 22 laps remaining as things get a little punched midway through the pack as they work their way down the front straightaway and up into turn number 1 and 2. It will be Cleveland holding on to the race lead once again. Robert Bublak going to get by David Schilling. He now sits 1 spot out of a top 10 run, working his way through the corner, but now this battle up towards the front of the field going to continue as Andrew Buff and Tim Hartman Jr. go side by side down the front straightaway. They'll work their way up into turn number 1 and 2 once again. Meanwhile, Darryl Nutting now working to the inside of Jack Speshock for the number 2 spot down the back straightaway. Into 3 and 4 they go. A couple of 2-car battles while this is happening. Connor Cleveland continuing to get away as Hartman now going to step it up a lane higher on the top side as he will clear Buff and now go to work on Nutting up in turn number 1 and 2. Cleveland almost out to a full straightaway run already is now Andrew Buff trying to protect his top 5 spot as here comes the 33J of Chris Johnson working the inside lane. He'll bring it off the corner and now be into the top 5 for the first time here in this feature event as we move towards the halfway point. Cleveland way out in front of this one. Speshock holding on to second. Nutting sits third, but here comes the 22 of Tim Hartman Jr. Going to crank it up on the top side one more time off of turn number 4. He'll take the number 3 spot away from Darryl Nutting as they work their way on the south side. Hartman working the top to perfection here so far in the early going of this one as he's going to try to close in on Jack Speshock and look for the runner-up spot as 13 go in the books this time by. He's down to about 3 car lengths on him as cars go to get together in turn number 4. Robert Bublak, David Schilling, and Tim Hodge together as that brings yellow out onto the speedway once again. The 27B going to drive away. Looks like some right rear damage on the fenders. A little bit of left rear as well as the quarter panel pushed in a little bit. 20 is Schilling going to drive away as well. Back to it next time by as Connor Cleveland has led the first 12 laps of this feature event. Tim Hartman Jr. now sitting in third in this one. Hartman started back in the 8th position. Chris Johnson sits 5th. He started back in spot number 12. Speshock and Cleveland also your front row. Darryl Nutting starting 3rd in this event. They're still hanging around in the top 5 as well. As Cleveland going to look to refire off the corner. We're back to green flag racing here with 18 laps remaining. Connor Cleveland continuing to set the pace on the inside lane that time as they work their way off of the corner. Cars race down the back straightaway as they shake out single file in the top 5 for the time being as Cleveland going to continue to get away as the 08 of Speshock goes to the outside that time. That allows Hartman to make a move to the inside. They'll cross back over and switch lanes off of turn number 2. The 08 of Speshock going to impede the progress by sliding up, and Hartman almost goes off the banking on the entry at turn number 3. Here comes Hartman trying to mount up the challenge on the outside lane. On the 08 of Jack Speshock looking for the runner-up position. Meanwhile, behind them, the 33J of Chris Johnson has worked his way up into spot number 4. And another car on the move, the 24 of Jordan Fornwalt, now working as he just sits 2 spots out of a top 5 run here at the halfway point. 15 are in, 15 remain for the driver of the Dean's Electric car number 09 of Connor Cleveland as he'll continue to work his way down the back straightaway, about 3/4 of a straightaway between first and second once again as the top 5 start to break away from the field a little bit. Cleveland going to put 16 in the books that time by as Hartman now starting to bear down on Speshock, but he may see some pressure from the 33J of Chris Johnson. Both of those drivers trying to use their preferred lanes here as we move towards the closing stages of this one. As Johnson working to the inside, Hartman on the top side off of turn number 4 as they bring it down the front straightaway. The gap starting to close between the 22 and 33. Hartman almost out to a full straightaway advantage once again, and that's Connor Cleveland, I do mean, up at the front of the field in the 09 machine. Meanwhile, Hartman now off the cushion this time, going to try to run down Speshock, but Speshock continuing that inside to outside run through turn number 3 and 4, and that may allow Chris Johnson to make his presence known here to get them both before this one's all said and done. Connor Cleveland this time going to put 19 in the books down the front straightaway as he starts to see the back of the field in the form of the 96 of Rob Maxon as they work their way down the back straightaway. He's only about 15 car lengths or so between Maxon and his front end. Richie Peterson's got 10 fingers in the air, 10 laps to go for the 09 of Connor Cleveland, looking to go back-to-back in Friday Night Lights competition here at the Albany-Saratoga Speedway. Jack Speshock still holding strong in the number 2 spot. The 22 of Tim Hartman remains in 3rd. 4th is Chris Johnson. 5th in with a strong run is Darryl Nutting. 6th is Jordan Fornwalt. 7th is Jason Gray. 9th, John Miller. And rounding out your top 10, the 98 of Andrew Buff. Cleveland now starting to work his way through flap traffic. He'll have a couple of cars dead ahead of him in the form of the 81 of Luke Klob and the 28 of Cody Hunt as Robert Bublak slows down the front straightaway. A couple cars having to move away to avoid him. down the front stretch as Bublak going to pull it into the pit area here with just 8 laps remaining in this feature event. 7 when the 09 of Connor Cleveland works his way off of turn number 3 and 4. Two-car battle for the number 2 spot continuing once again is now Tim Hartman Jr. going to drop it a lane lower as he's trying to work his way past the 08 of Jack Speshock. But now as they bring it up through the corner once again, Speshock gets away on the inside lane as now Hartman still continuing to hold on to that number 3 spot with Chris Johnson lurking right behind him. Connor Cleveland that time put number 24 on the board here in this one as he continues to bring it off at turn number 2. He will see 5 laps to go for Richie Pierson this time by 5 laps remaining for the 09 of Connor Cleveland as he is just 5 laps away from 1250 coming to him here in this one, and now the rest of the field starting to catch up with the slower traffic in front of him as Jack Speshock works to the inside past Rob Maxon as his only shot may be to get him through lap traffic. But what a run by Cleveland up at the front of the field as he continues to pace this with just 4 laps remaining. Speshock still holding on to second now. Hartman holding on to third. Fourth, Chris Johnson. And fifth with a strong run is the Ninja Darryl Nutting as they bring it off of the corner this time. Cleveland now going to see 3 laps left to go. Speshock now going to clear the 81 of Luke Klob as he continues to hold on to spot number 2. The 22 of Hartman looking to clear Hunt and Klob off the corner as well as he tries to reel in the 08 of Speshock here as 2 to go sign out on the speedway for Connor Cleveland. 2 laps remaining for the Dean's Electrical entry as he continues to fight his way through slower traffic, getting by the 20 of David Schilling down the back straightaway as the cars clear slower traffic, no problem behind him, but this time by he'll see the white flag as the track continues to slicken up a little bit more. They'll bring it up into turn number 1 and 2 for the final time as Connor Cleveland looking to bring home his win in his second consecutive year at number 2. And ladies and gentlemen, let me say, Cleveland rocks during Friday Night Lights as he picks up the win in the King of Dirt Sportsman Series event. Second will be Jack Speshock, third Tim Hartman Jr., fourth Chris Johnson, and rounding out the top 5 will be Darryl Nutting. So Connor Cleveland makes a statement to the King of Dirt crowd. An impressive win for the driver of the 09 car. He'll make his way down here onto the front straightaway for a quick victory lane ceremony and then go down to the traditional victory lane behind the grandstand area for the big celebration down there with the King of Dirt crew. The Dean's Electrical 09 car, Rocco's Pizzeria sponsored automobile, coming to a stop down here in front. Connor will make his way out of the car. Mike Warren's making his way down there onto the front straightaway. Once the Mike is done down there with Connor, he'll make his way down here in front. Get your 50-50 tickets out, as we'll be making our 50-50 draw after victory lane is done down here. So again, start to get your tickets out. We'll be calling the numbers off here in just a little while. Right now, Connor getting unbuckled. Well, the driver of the Dean's Electrical 09 about to step up out of the car. Ladies and gentlemen, the winner of Friday Night Lights in the 09 machine, Connor Cleveland. Your winner tonight led all 30 laps, and you can't teach that one out here on the Great Race Place Oval. As Cleveland going to make his way around his first trip to victory lane here in the 2016 season. And Connor, I'll tell you what a great car you had underneath this tonight, and 1250 going to you. And I sure Dean Seal, I was pretty happy about that one.
Yeah, I mean, this car was a rocket in the heat race, and we made some changes for the feature. And I could pretty much put the car anywhere as I wanted. And, I can't thank my guys enough for sticking with us through the hard part of the season that we had in the beginning. But the last couple of weeks, we've had 2 wins, 3 top 5s, and a top 5 and a 4th in all the past 4 weeks. No matter where we go, the car's fast, and I can't thank anyone enough.
Now the 3rd and a 1st to start off the King of Dirt Series. I'll tell you what, you can't get much better than that.
Yeah, in order to beat Rocky, you know, he's not here tonight. It was unfortunate he couldn't make it. But in order to beat him, you got to be up in front. You got to win as many races as you can, or at least be consistent in the top 5 and make sure to keep up with him.
All right, Connor, congratulations on the win. Connor Cleveland, the winner of tonight's Friday Night Lights King of Dirt Sportsman Series, as he joins me down here in Redline Graphics Victory Lane tonight. That's all we're going to have for the Victory Lane ceremony. All right, fans, time for you to get your 50-50 tickets out, as we are going to send somebody home with a little bit of cash. As our Drivers Point Fun 50-50 raffle drawing down here in front. First prize tonight, $1,624, and the winning number will be 001091. That's 001091. Second prize tonight will be the Freihoffer's Bread Box. The winning number will be 001505. That's 001505. Third prize tonight, $25 gift card to Sunoco Gas and a blanket from GA Bovey Fuels. Winning number 00.